Hey, how you doing? This is Angelo again with State of Euphorbia. It's been a while since my last check-in, and I figured now is a good time as any to drop a line and say hi and let you know what's going on. Hair is getting kind of gnarly and out of control, but I guess I wouldn't have it any other way. I got to do something with it. Maybe make it look worse. Who knows? Or better. Better for worse. Worse for better. Anyways, I wanted to talk about somebody that I met yesterday. I go to a monthly meeting at Providence of Portland, the Cancer Center. Um, Thanks to an RN who I was fortunate enough to meet up with, Rosemary McDermott. She put together a group of people of cancer, a brain tumor, brain cancer survivorship group on a monthly basis. And she gives me credit for helping her, inspiring her to get the group together. But really, Rosemary's just a wonderful woman. She's an inspiration to me and to so many other people. She's so caring, goes above and beyond all the things that really a lot of people would do. You navigate through the medical system when you have a chronic condition, I guess is a one way of putting it, and being able to find those people here and there who actually really care and are really willing to provide you with some of the resources that can help you navigate through the labyrinth of um, the complex world of health and betterment. It's really uh, refreshing and inspiring to meet people like Rosemary. So that being said, I met somebody yesterday who was a guest to our group. His name was Will Pye, Pye. And for those of you, I'll show you the card. Everything's probably backwards on this screen. I don't know because of the camera on my computer. But Will is a empowering, enlightening. He's an empowering, enlightened, living inspiration to many people. He inspires authentic being, and when I hear that, being from the background that I'm from, East Coast, kind of standoffish to a degree. I think nutty, fruity, weird. I'm very emotional and loving also. I have a soft, hugging side to me, but by the same token, I'm also a very reluctant person. I'm like, think a lot of people, what does this person want? Why is this person here? What's their bottom line? Well, obviously, I was a reluctant at first because I knew that this was part of Will Pye's book, sort of a book tour, or I don't know if I'd call it a book tour, but he did give me a book. He gave the group a book called "Blessed with a Brain Tumor," autographed. He's a sticker autographed by Will himself inside, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But he spoke onto the book yesterday for a few hours. I could have listened to him for a while. It's very inspirational to me. Um, Looked like a very healthy man. Apparently, he's in his early to mid 40s, according to the way he was talking. But I would have guessed probably, and he's in his 30s, around my age. But looked very healthy, enlightened, eats well. You could just tell he's glowing. He's passionate. Just his voice, the way he presents himself, very confident, very compassionate, and I'll just read the quote from the front of the book, "Blessed with a Brain Tumor, realizing it's all gift and learning to receive." And I'm not a very good reader. I'm more of a auditory learner, versus a visual learner, especially through symbols. So if that makes sense, I don't read a lot of books. I don't sit and look at words and symbols and um, convey those into thought as much as a lot of people do. Um, I'm more, like I said, an auditory learner, but by the same token, I'm inspired by this book. It comes in a nice I love the sort of matte finish of the cover of the book and the way it's presented. So right off the bat, I like it gray, like gray matters, brain tumor, brain related. And if you can see there, it has a brain with a little present. So a lot of what Will had conveyed to me in the group yesterday, I saw in myself. He spoke about how when he was younger, in his 20s, he was kind of blowing through life. I mean, we obviously on different pathways. He's a lot more financially successful as a young man than I would say I am. I've always been kind of a recluse, a little bit of a fuck off. But we the commonalities that I found was that he and I both had moved far away. He's from the UK, moved to Australia. I'm from the East Coast of the United States, moved to the West Coast. Both of us had loving relationships with our families, but we, for some reason, decided that we were going to go far off from the nest and explore. So I saw that as a commonality between he and myself, and so I related to that. Also, having a brain tumor, as you put it, is not one of those things that you just plan for. And he quoted, he made a quote. He quoted somebody. I'm sorry, I'm not being so eloquent. I was just getting going today, and sometimes I can't access parts of my brain that I'd like to, and that's a great excuse of having a brain tumor. You can use that excuse. But he's like, life is what happens when you're making other plans. It's a famous quote I've heard before, but it's so true. And the quote from the front of this book from author Tim Freke, or Freke, I don't know how to pronounce it, Freke, author of The Mystery Experience, it says, Will Pye is an inspiration. His love, wisdom, and irrepressible joy shine through the pages of this book. How can a tumor in the brain give rise to such beautiful thoughts in the mind? The answers are here. And it's so true. I mean, just in meeting Will, it's not just words on a page of a book, as I'm going to find out, because I am going to read this book, and I don't read a lot of books, I'll be honest with you. When I've been on dating websites in the past, and people are like, well, what are you into reading? And I'm like, well, I don't really read a lot. I'll be honest with you. I watch a lot of documentaries. I go online, read a lot of news articles, a lot of small clips, into social media quite a bit. More of an interfacing type of a person. But meeting Will, I felt a connection, and I have an irreverent personality, as my brother will tell you. I use a lot of sarcasm, darkness in my presentation of how I am. But really beneath all of that, there's a lot of need and love and concern for humanity that I feel like I have. And that's a big part of why I've been a vegan for the majority of my life. Why I make decisions based upon environmental and social concerns of mine, and I try to do some of the things in my life that I think make a difference, even though I find that we're all imparting on a little bit of cognitive dissonance, and we're overlooking a lot of what we could be involved in, but we're all individuals, and we all only have so much time on this planet to make as much difference as we possibly can. Now, Will struck me right off the bat as like, here's a handsome man, he's good looking. But then after, I started listening to him talk about his vulnerabilities in his life, and, he had already been participating and involved in doing a lot of things that were good for his mind and body. He'd been involved in nonprofit organizations. And he'd been meditating, he'd been practicing yoga, he'd been eating well. He'd been doing a lot of things that you wouldn't expect someone would get a brain tumor, have they been already been living in such a way that, it was probably just in the cards for it to happen, and the same thing of myself, because of talking to my doctors, my neurologist, as one of my neurologists said, and I've had many, he said, you just got dealt a shit hand. And I'm like, well, that's one way of looking at it, I guess. So a lot of times doctors and medical staff around you can, bring you down. Don't let the bastards bring you down. But sometimes that can happen, and then you can have a bleak outlook. The doctor will tell you you're going to have seizures for the rest of your life. I've been told that. I've been told you're going to need these medications or you're going to die. Well, Will has inspired me, and not to say that I'm going to be able to go medication free, but I'm trying several different things to reduce the amount of seizures that I'm having and do things that are in my healthiest and best interest. And I just saw him as more than just some pretty boy, because he's not. I mean, prettiness, beauty, those are things that are in the eye of the beholder. And a lot of what I saw in him and Will, is how he presented himself, the manner and, his posture and his tone, and in how he evoked himself towards us. And he was very captivating, very inspirational. And it's something that I admired greatly, and something that I, on some of my better days, look to be. And seeing the good in people, seeing the optimistic side of life, is something that's hard when you're experiencing a terminal condition, or you're sick, or you're down in a hole, or you're depressed. And just digging yourself out, it's just one step, another step. And sometimes people just seem to have it all, and you look around you and you see that guy right there has a great job, a beautiful wife, he's got kids, but you don't realize sometimes what's below the surface. And, those people sometimes end up in the worst of situations. They lose it all. They lose their own life. They lose their mind, and they lose their heart and their inspiration, because there's so much pressure on people sometimes that they put on themselves, that they feel society's there. But one thing that I think Will has brought to the table for me in listening to him and getting the gist of blessed with a brain tumor, because I also felt this way when I was first diagnosed. It opens your eyes. Sometimes when you're faced with a terminal condition, or a condition that's beyond your control, you have to say, fuck it. You have to say, this is where I am right now. This is the way that life is. And I have to look at the good in life. Otherwise, I can sit here and feel sorry for myself. I can say, I have a brain tumor. Woe is me. I can use the tumor card everywhere I go. I can, be like, I won't get into specific politicians like Hillary Clinton, but oops, I did. But use the inability of, or the disadvantage, like saying I'm a woman, I am disabled, I am this, I am that. Of course, it's easy for a straight white male in American society to say a lot of these things, and this is a point that Will brought up yesterday, and I've thought of myself. But by the same token, we all have resources at our disposal, even those of us that aren't very fortunate off the bat. We can make a difference. And right out of the realizing it's all gift and learning to receive, that is what life is all about. And I'll read you a couple quotes, and I haven't even really gone through this book, but I know that what Will has to say and has had to say is very moving to me and to other people. And I'll talk a little bit quickly because I'm getting short on time, but on these short videos. But it says here, to that which is beyond words, without which nothing would be, eternal gratitude. May I remember this presence always. So you have to remember for what you have, not always looking at what you don't have. And this touches back onto what I just said earlier. There was a woman in the group who said to Will, yeah, well, you're a single man. I kind of implying that you can afford to be and think the way. But she's like, what about me? I have a a tumor in my brainstem. Who, I have to go get regular MRIs, which I can identify with that. But she's this is very serious, a brainstem tumor. But she has a child, a small daughter, and she's concerned for her daughter. What if I can't be there for her daughter? And one point that he made, and I don't know if I'm going to be as eloquent about discussing this, but he said, you have to give into death and into inevitability. And if you sit there with fear thinking about dying and what if, you're always going to be frightened, you're always going to be on edge, you're always going to be in an emotional state that's going to be detrimental to those around you that love you. And so it has to, having this experience, the being blessed, the gift of a brain tumor, which I feel this way. I felt what he's feeling right off the bat when diagnosed, and I've been through many stages. And I think a lot of it for me has to do with the fact of the location of my tumor. And I apologize if I get tangential about the way I discuss some of these topics because of the size and location of my tumor and my left frontal and parietal lobe makes for me to digress a bit and for me to exhaust a lot of kind of lose track of where I was going with streams of thought, lose my train. As my high school math teacher would say, oh, there it comes. Train's coming back around. So living in the moment for now, not looking back on where you were, not worrying all the time, just being so grateful to have what you have every day. And it's so true. Waking up every day and being alive is so inspirational. And I feel very inspired and thankful for Will, and I'm going to think about him every time that thing feels like a big shit sandwich. Thing feels terrible to me. And if you are on Twitter, I recommend you follow Will Pye. Will, like normally spelled, W-I-L-L, Pye, P-Y-E. His Twitter handle is Total Gratitude. So at Total Gratitude, you can follow him. And check out Blessed with a Brain Tumor. I apologize if everything is reversed on this screen. That's just one of the wonders of using this photo booth video that I'm using here. And I'll give you just another quote here. Will's powerful story brings new life and understanding to the great spiritual truths. With humor, candor, and great love, he invites us into the extraordinary life that is waiting to unfold through us if we will just say yes. And this is Alan Seal, Director, Center for Transformational Presence, and author of Create a World That Works. The Love and Truth Project. So you can also go to the loveandtruthproject.org. And Will, you're an inspiration to me. I have to say, I'm very grateful for all that you've brought into my life in just that short encounter that we've had. You're a cool dude. You're down to earth. You didn't deliver it to us like you were some higher than thou individual. Couple other quotes. Since everything in life is but an experience, perfect in being what it is, having nothing to do with good or bad, acceptance or rejection, one may well burst out in laughter. Long Chen Pa. And then another quote which I love, it's just a ride, Bill Hicks. So, we're just in this life for a finite amount of time, though I like to joke I'm working on immortality. So far, so good. But we have but one life to live, and we need to fight for the cure. I believe I still think. Will has a pretty good sized scar on the back of his left head where they went in and took a pretty good sized chunk out of him. He had surgery on his brain while he was awake, and that's crazy. And I talk about why about these drugs that I'm on, this, that, and the other thing. And he said, don't get too heady about things, which is kind of funny thinking about it from a person with a brain tumor perspective, but go from here. And what I gather from that is what I try to think about and practice in my own life a lot is go from the gut, go from what you feel deep inside. Don't operate your life out of fear. Operate your life out of hope and ambition and what you think you can accomplish and what you think you can achieve. Don't operate your life out of, well, if I take this chance and it fails, then I'm fucked. Think about it as, well, you know what? If I don't try, I can't succeed. So let's just go for it. Fuck it. Let's just do it. Let's do it. You know what? Regardless of what comes out of it, not to say like let's jump off a cliff without a parachute because you know that that's not safe. But let's just go with what our gut tells us. If you want to jump off a cliff without a parachute and your gut tells you that's fine, then do it. But like in reality, be a person that rolls from the gut and from the heart. And I like that about Will. And blessed with a brain tumor, realizing it's all gift and learning to receive. All of it. So thank you, Will Pye. Follow him. Total Gratitude is where you can find him on Twitter. And pick up a copy of his book. I know you'll like it, especially if you're someone that's suffering from a terminal condition, because it doesn't just really apply to brain tumors. It applies to all types of people with cancers or, illnesses, or feel like you're in a hole in life that you can't get yourself out of. And even if you don't have money, reach out to Will. I'm sure he'll find the time to talk to you. He's just that type of person. And I am too. So you can always reach out to me at State O Euphorbia on Twitter, and keep following me at State of Euphorbia, also on brewpublic.com. Brewpublic's my beer website, sorry, but Facebook.com/State of Euphorbia. So thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to me spout. I'm very happy that I am cognitively intact today. I've been putting forth more effort recently to do things that are better for myself. I've started a little bit of work on meditating, which I think can be of huge benefit. Things I realize I need to work on, and I'm going to work on, is being more physically fit and active. I'm going to make an attempt to be more positive of a person. And another thing that I think is huge, which I should have mentioned earlier for all of you, is don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to reach out to people and ask for help. This isn't to say that you need to abuse that and to manipulate people to say help me when you really don't need help. But if you need help and you're one of those people that are proud and you have pride and you're afraid because you are just like, oh, I got this, but you're really hurting, ask for help. Say, look, I need help. And I've been very fortunate that I found a person and people that have been showing me love and helping maintain my dignity. Mentors anywhere, social services, don't give up. Ask for help. People are in this world to help us. And that's about all I have for right now. Stato Euphorbia is the Twitter handle. You can follow me on Instagram, some of my crazy photos at Cascadian Dark Secret, and Brew Public is my beer website. If you like beer, DJ Paul is doing a lot of the writing for it. He just got back from Dublin, so if you have interest, this is off topic, in craft beer. I'm no longer drinking, so DJ Paul's running that show, and you can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/brewpublic. If we can be friends, just friend me, or if you want to follow State of Euphorbia, facebook.com/State of Euphorbia, and since there's not enough characters on Twitter, at State O Euphorbia, all one. All right. Have a magnificent day. Hang in there. If you're struggling, try to breathe and try to follow your heart and gut. That's all I got to say for today. And thank you to Will Pye. I hope that I get to see you again someday soon, Will. I wish you could have come on the show today. But take care of yourselves.